President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad told the country's atomic energy chief to start the production of higher enriched uranium.
We had told those in the West that they had 3 months. Otherwise, we would start enrichment ourselves. Now, I say to Dr. Salehi, begin production of 20% with the centrifuges. However, the way is still open for interaction. If they say they are ready for an unconditional swap, we will swap.
Well, the US and Western allies have been pushing for another round of UN sanctions, but China and Russia have always balked. CNN's Matthew Chance joins us from Moscow. And any word out of Russia, Matthew, about this latest toing and froing?
No, the Russians have been are usually pretty slow about reacting to whatever remarks the Iranian leadership make. But their position has been pretty consistent on this, although there have been some word from the United States officials that we've heard from saying that they believe the Russians are now more on board when it comes to tougher sanctions against the Islamic Republic than they were before the diplomatic push to bring them on board by the Obama administration. The message we get from the Kremlin is very much that because of the various interests they have in the Islamic Republic, the Russians do not particularly want to see an extremely tough sanctions regime against Iran. And so them, along with China, are still the obstacles when it comes to the Western powers passing tougher sanctions at the United Nations Security Council, Stan.
Matthew, as you're saying there, Russia concerned about sanctions that hurt the economy of Iran, and there's self-interest at play there. But what are the other alternatives if indeed they still want to continue to go down the diplomatic route?
Well, I think those alternatives have to be laid out for the Russians to comment on them. But certainly what's being discussed by those countries, namely the United States, Britain, France and Germany, others as well, that want to see tougher measures against the Islamic Republic are economic sanctions, sanctions that would potentially try and target the economy of Iran rather than the people of Iran. There's also been talk of individuals within the regime in Tehran being targeted by specific sanctions. But again, all of these have led to individuals, leaders in Russia and China as well, to balk at the prospect of tougher sanctions because they have these very close diplomatic ties and very deep commercial interests with Iran at this point, Stan.
Matthew, as always, thank you very much. Matthew Chance joining us live there from Moscow. So how does uranium enrichment work? Uranium has to be processed through a series of steps. First mined, milled, converted, and then enriched. That's the crucial part because through enrichment, uranium can create a nuclear chain reaction, either for fuel in nuclear power plants or for nuclear weapons. One common way to enrich uranium is using a centrifuge, a container that spins uranium gas at very high speeds. The enriched uranium is collected and fed into another centrifuge, and the process is repeated over and over. To work in a nuclear reactor, uranium has to be enriched from a natural level of 0.7% increased to at least 3.5%, while weapons-grade uranium must be much higher, around 90%.